Hi you guys, it's Melanie and welcome back to Living Luxuriously for Less. So I am at home today. I'm comfy and cozy, and I posted a video yesterday that I shared with you guys, and to my surprise I got a lot of emails and phone calls and messages concerning my video on yesterday on me saying goodbye. And if you have not seen that video, I would recommend that you put a pin right here and go back and check out my video from yesterday. So for those of you guys who have seen my video from yesterday, you know by now that I made the decision, well actually my husband and I made the decision to say goodbye to our current event planning location, Lux Studio, or the last event location that I've shared with you guys. And so today I felt like it would be remiss of me not to share kind of my reasoning for leaving, so that I can kind of more or less help you guys who are interested in going into event planning or opening up an event planning venue, and then kind of sharing some of the lessons that I have learned along the way. And so I jotted down like basically 5 reasons why I left, and I will go into detail with you guys about those reasons, and hopefully you will learn something from this and from our process, and kind of understand the why behind us saying goodbye. And so the first reason behind us saying goodbye is that basically I knew from the beginning that this location would be temporary. So when we moved in, I knew there were a lot of things that were in this location that were not in this location that I actually needed in order to function fully as I needed to, according to the vision and the plan that God had given me. But I also knew that it was necessary for me to move in at that time, because it was more or less a process or a leap of faith that I needed to take for myself. And so there were things like a laundry area to launder the linens and, you know, things like that. It also needed a kitchen to be fully functional, a place where someone could like warm up food and wash the dishes in case a utensil hit the floor, things like that. So it really needed a kitchen area, it needed a laundry area, I needed more space for storage, and you know, just a little bit more space in general. Now my building comfortably would hold like 99 people, but once you got like tables and all of that in place comfortably and realistically, it would hold about 65 people. And it was an older building, so like we started having concerns about the structural aspect of it as well. So you know, there were certain types of events that I would not hold because I was afraid that structurally it would not be able to handle it. And that was later confirmed by someone who owned the building in the past and who was like really familiar with it. So I really felt secure. I felt even more secure in the decision that I made. So number one, I knew that it was temporary. I just knew it was a temporary place. It was not the place that God had for me. Number two, our lease was up. Like, our lease was up. We had done very well in the building, but our lease was up and we were in a co-lease with the photographers next door. And so we both decided that, you know, we didn't want to renew the lease for the new rate. Honestly, because of all the things that I felt like the building needed, for me to pay that new rate, I felt like I would be better off investing in a space that had all of those things included. So the lease was up and we basically had to make a decision on what we were going to do. And I was already feeling as if I had outgrown that space. So it was just the best move to make. Number three, the space was just not capable of meeting the things that I wanted to do. Those of you who have taken Lux Academy, or those of you who actually visited the space, you know what I'm talking about. But even in like trying to change the floor plan and add these other things on, it was just not feasible because of the age of the building. Like adding things like adding a sink or, you know, any of that. Structurally, the building was not able to handle that. And I knew that going in. So I just knew that even if I wanted to grow in that current spot, in the current condition of the building, I could not do that. So that was another reason why we decided to say goodbye. The number 4 reason why we decided to say goodbye is that honestly, most of our events were held outside of that building. I felt like our area that was a niche for us to have an intimate event planning center. But in all actuality, my clientele, once I got out of just doing intimate events, most of my clientele had like larger scale events, and we did a lot of our events, and you guys can see that through my YouTube channel. Most of the events that we did were outside of the building. Thus, the building to me was like more of a, I guess it was another task to try to handle, and it was like a glorified storage space. So we were paying a lot of money per month in order just to kind of store things there. So that was the other thing. I was like, oh, we can just get a storage. And then my friend had this humongous garage area that she was not using, and I was able to like store things there comfortably, spread things out for like a super fraction of the price, until my husband and I decided what route we would go in the long run. And then number 5, and most importantly, it's just that it was time. Like, I just felt like it was the right time. I was not sad about it. It just felt right within my spirit. Like, when I prayed about it and we talked about it, it just felt like the right thing to do. Everything fell in place. It was very easy. And I am definitely, you know, one of my hallmark scriptures for when I'm making a major decision in my life is that the blessing of the Lord makes one rich and add no sorrow. So when we decided to make that transition, like, I was just at peace. And there were so many other opportunities that we had. I did not discuss them on this YouTube channel. Now, some people who came to my Lux Academy class, they were kind of involved in the midst of all of that, so they are aware of that. But I kind of like to bring things to you guys, like, once I've worked through them and I have the solution, and then I kind of show you my process. I show you my work behind the scenes. And so that's kind of where we are now. But because we were entering into a new year, I wanted to kind of go ahead and share that aspect of us making that transition, the aspect of us saying goodbye and moving out of our current location. I wanted to share that with you guys so that when I share the next set of news with you, that it will make total sense, okay? And so a couple questions that I got was like, you know, am I still going to do Lux Academy? Absolutely. That's not going to stop. It's actually going to get much, 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 much better. It's going to be way better than I've ever dreamed and you've ever dreamed. Just wait on it. So no, Lux Academy is not going anywhere. It's going to get bigger and it's going to get better. Another question that I got was, are you going to go back to your full-time job? Absolutely not. At this point, going back to my full-time job, and I say this in the most humble way possible, even though I made super great money on my old full-time job or my old career, like, at this point it would be a pay cut for me to go back to work. And I'm just not willing to make, even if it wasn't a pay cut, I'm not willing to make the sacrifices for my family and things like that. Like, I'm not willing to do that anymore with all the travel and things like that that I needed to do. But financially, I don't need to go back to work, okay? The next question I got was like, are you going to continue to do event planning? Yes, every day. As I stated, I'm just not in that location, but that does not mean that I'm not planning. I just met with a bride this past Friday. The 2020 calendar is already filling up. I have some amazing things on the horizon that you would never believe in a million years, but it was just necessary for us to make this step now and not continue to invest in a space that would not be able to yield everything that we needed the space to yield. And then it would have just put us in a bind where we weren't able to open ourselves up and be free for when God wanted to, you know, take us to the next level. So basically that was what that move was all about. If I hadn't have told you guys that we moved, you probably would have never known, because it's been business as usual. Like the only difference is it's like where we house our things right now. So many of you guys have asked me to take you on a tour of how I store my things and where we house our things, and I'm definitely going to be doing that with you guys in the new year, but I'm going to be doing it in the new space because I'm going to get to design this new space from start to finish, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy that process. But just stay tuned. The next time I do an update on Lux Studio, you guys are going to be seeing like groundbreaking news, and then the next thing you'll be seeing is a grand opening. That's just kind of how I operate. That's kind of how I do things. So I really appreciate all of your concerns and your thoughts and your prayers and your well wishes. I mean, it really means a lot to me, but I just wanted to let you guys know, like, don't worry. I'm not sad about it. It's actually a great thing. And I'm sorry it didn't come across that way in the video, because I kind of just put some footage together, you know, from what I was experiencing at that time. And I actually lost the sit down and talking piece to that footage in transitioning from all the things I was transitioning from in my life. So, you know, that's my fault. So that's why I wanted to kind of do this follow-up chit chat, this follow-up video, and kind of talk to you guys about why I left and the reasonings behind why I left. And I hope that that helps you in making those decisions. So I also am going to be doing a class in 2020 for those who are wanting to open up an event planning business, and you know, some of the things that I have learned through my experiences and things like that. Like, I'm going to be sharing all of that with you guys, and you know what you know, how to survey your area and figure out what your area needed. Like when I opened up that building, it was perfect for me and the niche that I was in at that time, because I, you know, really focused on intimate events that were like 50 people or less. But now that's not my focus any longer. I do large scale, small scales, like my range is humongous. So that's it, you guys. That's why I left, and I hope this all makes sense to you guys. But just stay tuned. I promise you, you will really be amazed at what God is doing in this next season of our lives. I promise. So just stay tuned. And that's all I have. I will see you guys at the next video. And until next time, it's Melanie with Living Luxuriously for Less. Cheers.